so chic, and it is handmade, top quality, and it's gonna be so nice and so expensive that it needs to be dry cleaned. Oh, I just cracked my neck when I did that. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Zoe, and this is not what I normally do, okay? I've done a lot of things on this channel. Today, as you probably already know from the title, I'm going to be doing something that I haven't attempted before. It's going to be a hybrid crochet and sewing project that I'm super excited but also really nervous about. And I'm a little crazy. I'm probably a little bit crazy because today is Black Friday, okay? Yesterday was Thanksgiving and I don't have to go back to work until Monday. So I was like, why don't I go to Joann today on Black Friday, the craziest shopping day of the year, even though we're in a pandemic. I'm really not sure how it's going to go, but I'm gonna go to Joann, get all the supplies. I need red yarn, probably a cotton bamboo blend or just 100% cotton, brightest red I can find, red tulle. I have some white elastic for the band, but I'm not sure I want to use it. I'm thinking either red elastic or red dye to dye the elastic that I have red. That might be the cheaper option. I may go with that one, especially because I'm probably not going to be doing a whole bunch of red projects. I just really wanted to do this like red hybrid holiday dress, and it's gonna be amazing. I've got zippers already. I need some lining fabric, a whole lot of tulle, so much tulle, and yeah, then I'm gonna come back. Okay, so there's a lot of people here. The parking lot is like kind of full, and there was a lot of people on the way in, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. So as soon as I got home from Joann, I immediately put the fabric down and got to work on crocheting. I started with the red yarn, but I switched to black, and I'll explain this a little bit later. So you'll see me crocheting the black waistband here first and taking notes on how many stitches it's taking me and how many rows I'm creating. It's really important for me to take notes as I'm designing new projects because I've made the mistake in the past of not keeping notes row for row and not being able to replicate something I've designed. So, not trying to make that mistake again. Not every single design that I create turns into a written pattern that I put up for sale, but it is important for me to make sure that I'm able to refer back to a pattern and be able to recreate things as many times as I need to. Any of these times that I'm doing a long stint of crochet, I just binge watch something on Netflix, and I'm usually cool with it because if I'm crocheting at the same time, then I'm multitasking and being productive and getting something done, so can't feel bad about it. Okay, so it's the next day, and I actually got quite a bit done last night. So when I saw the original design in my head, it was all red, but when I was crocheting the waistband yesterday and I realized, like, I envisioned what it would look like with the red waistband and I didn't like it, so then I imagined it with a black waistband and it became like so much more impressive. So I started crocheting a black waistband, and I'm actually really happy that I had the same black yarn for the black waistband, so I didn't have to use a different texture or anything like that, and it will hopefully be way better. And hopefully I can show you this. I don't know if you can see it, but it gets kind of sparkly and when it reveals, and that's what I wanted because it's like more holiday-y. And I sewed the elastic together using the machine. I'm gonna insert that clip here because it was cool, and you can actually see just how pretty the elastic is in this shot because I used my fancy mirrorless camera and it was amazing. It's gonna be a little bit tighter than the actual crocheted part of it. So when you're going around, you kind of just have to like cinch down to like straighten it out as you go, and it'll adjust. And the idea is that when it's completely taut, it holds onto your waist really nicely, and then it stretches out enough to cover to like come up above your hips. So whatever you have to do to make that happen, just like measure the width of your hips, and that will be the measurement that you use to determine how many stitches are when pulled taut, it's gonna take to cover that space. And then you'll be able to just like sew them together around the elastic, and it will all fit together and it'll be encased inside. And then I started on the panels. So the way that I just figured out how I was going to do the panels is I took the number of stitches, which for me was 126, and I divided it in half, so the front part and the back part, because they'll connect for seams underneath my armpits on my sides, and it'll come around to the front. I don't know if you can see this, but it'll wrap around the front. And because I have this really nice seam here, when it starts to overlap, I can do one of the panels in the back stitch and one of the other panels in the front stitch, and they'll just completely cross over each other and make this really pretty like overlapped look, which I found holds in the girls a lot more. And I mean, I don't have very many to hold in, but I like to think about that when I'm like designing, so that other people can enjoy my patterns too, and not just like the people that are flat-chested like me. And I'm gonna be attempting something new. I tried to do this a while back with some like cotton spandex blend lining inside of a swimsuit that I had crocheted, but I found it was really difficult to sew crochet and lining together because I had never used my sewing machine before. So now that I'm more of a seasoned seamstress, it should be easier to try it, and I have a few tricks. You can put parchment paper or wax paper underneath your crochet, so you, like the layers will be parchment paper, crochet, and lining fabric, and you can sew them together to make them one piece. Today I'm going to finish crocheting the panels. It takes hours, literally hours and hours and hours. Like I think I started at 5 p.m. yesterday and I didn't stop until almost 2 in the morning, and I got this and like a few other rows on the other one done. And what I did with the other one is I just put a stitch marker in the working loop and then used a safety pin to pin a note to it telling me what it is and how many stitches it is, so that I know whenever I'm like looking at it later that I can use that as the starting point for another waistband just like this one, if I want to make another dress with a red waistband. So this clip of me crocheting one of the top panels is actually from before I recorded the last clip, but I just threw it in here right before the time lapses of me cutting fabric, because I can't always crochet for a million hours on end. So I got up and I cut and I cut and I cut. I cut lots of fabric. I started with the lining and then I used that as kind of like a guide for all of the tulle. I made it a circle skirt without a cut to form a seam or add a zipper because I actually decided not to have one. So every layer was the same, folded in half, and again with all the selvage on the same side, and cutting from the opposite corner to each of the links that I wanted for the 2 tiers I originally started out with. So I had a change of plans. As I was cutting and laying the tulle on top of each other in the layers, I realized that I wanted to do 3 different tiers of lengths, with the longest one being a midi length, which I think I cut it to be around 32 to 34 inches long. And then I had a shorter cut that was probably about 21 or 22 inches long, and then I want to do a third cut that's kind of in between at like 27, 28 inches long, and then I can have a tiered effect. And right now I have 4 of the top one, 2 of the long bottom ones. So I'm gonna go to Joann tomorrow and I'm gonna pick up 6 more yards of the long bottom fabric and 6 yards, just to be safe, of the fabric I'm gonna use for the middle. And since I have 2 different shades of red already, I think for the middle tier I'll do 1 more shade of red so that we've got maybe like an ombre from light to dark, get like a nice medium one. I'll probably finish cutting and sewing tomorrow. Tonight I'm just going to finish crocheting all of the pieces that I need, and Joann opens at 10, so I'll probably wake up at like 9 and get to Joann right when they open at 10 and just get in and get out, get that fabric, and finish cutting it tomorrow, because I think I can finish it. I think I can reach my goal and finish it over the weekend. It's Saturday night, it's a little after 7, and I can just go crochet for the rest of the night. I know I'm gonna need a lot of hours to do that. I am about halfway done with the second panel, and then I just need to do 2 more panels. Oh, that reminds me, I need to go pick up all of that stuff to dog sit tomorrow. The key and the instructions and everything. Everything's gonna be fine. It's Sunday, the last day. I'm tired, okay? But it's close. It's close to being done. I have maybe half of a panel, 1 panel left to crochet. Then I'm going to combine the 2 side pieces. I'm gonna go to Joann right now, come back, cut some more tulle, put a hem in this skirt, sew all the pieces together, and assemble this dress. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. And I made oatmeal, but it's got too much water in it, so it's soupy. It's already probably almost 11. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock now, so I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna come back and hopefully I can get this done in a few hours. Okay, so as soon as I got back from Joann this time, I immediately started cutting fabric. I found out that I didn't get a wide enough bolt of one of the tools. I only got 54 inches wide, and so I wasn't able to make the full circle skirt that I wanted to out of those layers. So I ended up having to cut them into little triangle cone shaped things, and I decided to do 1 layer on top of those and a 3rd layer in between the middle and longest layer to make 4 tiers. I hope that makes sense. We're on 4 tiers now. We started with 2, we went to 3, now we're at 4. 4 is the final answer. It's the one I'm sticking with. So I started pinning all of the layers together just to make sure that everything fit perfectly and that it went up over my hips, because that's just the most important part. It would be so sad if I sewed all of these together and didn't check to make sure that it fit over my hips and then it was too small for my hips. That would just break my heart. So everything turned out looking good, and now you can see here's some of those little pieces I was talking about, and I was fixing them to the second tier so that we can send both of them through the sewing machine and get them attached. You can see here that I'm using a gift wrap tissue paper cut into strips to kind of brace the back of the tool so that my needle doesn't stab it through into my machine. I've heard horror stories of people really doing some damage to their machines, so I'm just really careful with this tool. This was actually my first time working with tulle as well. I love to choose these really difficult fabrics to work with when I'm still sort of a beginner, instead of choosing easy fabrics to work with, because that's the kind of person I am, always making it harder on myself, but I think it adds to my charm. But anyway, this tissue paper, it's really easy to pull out of the inside of your skirt whenever you're done, and it won't mess up the stitches if you do it gently enough. And then you're good to go, and you have pieces of tulle that are sewn together and a machine that still works. Once I had just about enough with sewing the tulle for a minute, I decided to switch over to sewing the hem on the skirt lining, and I was really lazy and didn't iron it and decided that I was going to do a rolled seam, and it ended up not working out for me, but I don't want to talk about it. Okay. It's Sunday night, 10 p.m. and for the skirt, all I have left to do is add these feathery middle tier pieces to this longest tier skirt that's already sewed together, and then sew together the bottom tier and the top tier, overlock all of those, and then it will be ready to be added to the waistband of the top. Now the top still has just a little bit more crochet left, not very much, and then I just have to mattress stitch the side panels together. My lining skirt, horrible hem. The worst hem that I've ever done, ever in a million years. It's very sad. I'm not even going to show it to you because I'm very upset about it, but it'll be fine because it's covered up by a bunch of tulle. So I didn't get it done by the end of the weekend, and I have to get up really early tomorrow morning to go over to my friend's house. They're actually going on their honeymoon, so they need me to dog sit for the whole week, and I'm debating whether or not I'm gonna lug all of my stuff over there to work and finish the dress sooner, or if I'm just gonna wait until next weekend when they get back. I haven't really decided yet. I'm bummed I didn't get it done, but I'm actually really proud of how much work I did get done all weekend. It's a really big project. I'm probably gonna end up just sewing it to the inside of the waistband instead of doing a crazy crocheted connection between them, just because after I do those like overlocking stitches, it's gonna be really hard to like find a place where I can penetrate through the hundreds of times I'm going to have to get completely, oh well, technically it's 126 times because that's how many stitches are on the thing. But I was going to do something like that, but I think now I'm just going to, it's going to be difficult, but that's probably going to be the hardest part of this entire thing, is actually fusing together the crochet and the sewing, because up until this point I've just been sewing or crocheting, but I haven't been combining the two, and that's been the toughest for me in the past. I used to try to add lining to the inside of my swimsuits with my sewing machine, and it just didn't work out. Ow! No ma'am! So yeah, I'm gonna go get in bed now. I'm gonna finish crocheting and mattress stitching tonight before I go to sleep, and then wake up refreshed and renewed tomorrow. Okay, I guess I'm gonna leave you here, and sorry this video is so long. I wonder how long I can sit here before someone comes to bother me. I'm in a different location. I'm gonna have to take that. It's gonna take me like 15 tries to do this. Somebody come sit in my lap and be quiet. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, there are people coming, so I bet you this is gonna make them go crazy. It's like they know. They don't even see them. It's like they know. Cookie. Okay. Hey! That is so loud. All right. Okay, I'm in a different place now, okay? It's a week later. I had a very busy week, okay? Not only do I have 2 jobs, working at a music school and styling for Stitch Fix, but I have also been dog sitting all week. Cookie! And I'm also making a scarf for one of the teacher's sister for Christmas. So, very busy week. I couldn't really get to sewing any day this week, and I didn't really feel like filming either, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna wait. It's Saturday, they're headed back. They actually just boarded their flight as I'm filming this, so safe travels to them, and they should be home in like a few hours, maybe like 5 hours, who knows. But I lugged all of my stuff over here on Monday, and so it's here, and it's been here all week. Little porker. There we go. There's your good girl. See, little chunk. My little Christmas ham. So I'm gonna sew. There's a lot of construction going on over here all the time, so they've got a lot to distract them and make them make noises. So anyway, I'm gonna get some sewing done. I still haven't finished crocheting the bodice, so that's also going to take some work. I really should have done that during this week, but I didn't, so it's fine. Everything's fine. I have today and tomorrow, and I'm gonna get this dress done, okay? It's gonna get done. And then Janie and I are gonna do some dress reveal B-roll tomorrow, and everything's gonna be fantastic. And I should have this edited in a bit. Maybe quite a bit. The only constant on this channel is me. Every time you tune in, it's my face. Everything else, up in the air. How often I post, what I post about, how long it takes me to edit. But anyway, I'm gonna stop talking and start sewing. So on this day 1 of weekend 2 working on this project, I had just the 3rd tier of pieces to add to the 4th tier of the skirt, and I'm doing that here before I sent them all through the machine to get them together. And then I put together the shortest tier and the longest tier to put together tiers 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you're following me, perfect. I love you. Once all of the pieces are put together, then I can overlock them. Gotta get that iced tea though. I'm a fiend for caffeine. I'm binge watching Are You the One here, and I just love me some trash reality TV. It's one of my guilty pleasures for sure. I love the drama, even if it's fabricated. And you can see here that I'm just gently ripping off that gift tissue paper from the inside of the skirt before I overlock stitch all of the layers of tulle together to make a nice finished seam. Okay, so here I am with my skirt that's been overlocked, stitched around the edge, and I'm not 100% still about how I'm going to secure it to this crocheted waistband. You know what I should have done? I should have sewed the inside of the skirt to one layer of crochet. Now that I'm thinking about it, that like really feels like the right way to do it. If I can find where my start and end was, maybe I can pull the stitch out. I feel like it's right here. And I mean, if I'm like psychotic and pulling these pieces out, the sewing of the two pieces together, and it messes up, like, it is what it is. I'll probably end up making another one anyway if that happens. Sorry if y'all can hear the animals playing together in the background. I know it's not everybody's favorite thing. Kiwi has a bell on her collar because for some reason all cat collars come with bells. I don't know why. Why do all cat collars come with bells? Can someone tell me down in the comments? Man, I like really hide these tails, which is really great for construction, but really bad for deconstructing. And another one. Okay, I did it. Where I was sewing them together. Yes! Okay, so this means I don't have to completely crochet another band, because that would be really crappy. Especially because crocheting these bands takes like a really long time, and I'm already put so much time into this project. So I'm going to completely undo all of it, just like completely take it apart. I have been sitting here for a couple of hours and I did not realize that it rained. What is wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just like really focused. I'm really proud of myself for being able to like find this, but it is gonna take a long time. Okay, I really just had to cut myself off there because I rambled on and on and on for probably about another 30 minutes. You can see me talking in this time lapse here. I wasn't really talking about anything important while I was unweaving this waistband, but if y'all want to see this video, I can upload this as a separate one and we can call it a story time. Let me know in the comments below. Alright, so we're on to the next clip, and I am now home and I am pinning the now unwoven waistband that is completely flat to the outside of the layers of skirt in the position that I want it before sending it through the machine. This was probably the most nerve-wracking part of the entire project for me. It is very scary sending crochet through the machine, just because when you send fabric through the machine, it's something that you bought at the store. If you mess it up, worst case scenario, you can go and buy more, but when sending that crochet through the machine, worst case scenario, you have to make an entirely new project again. So I was very happy to see that it made it out of the machine alive and well and fabulous. Once the crochet was sewn to the rest of the skirt, I was able to put the elastic back in and re-sew up all of those stitches that I had unsewn earlier. And here I am mattress stitching the top panels to the top of the waistband as I had described in one of the earlier clips. Here you can see that I am crocheting a chain. I decided last second to create a corseted front and back detail to add extra support and keep everything in and just make this dress more wearable. Now we're on to the big reveal, and I thank y'all so much for sticking with me this long. I am so excited to share this with y'all. If you'd like to see more hybrid makes from me in the future, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below giving me ideas for what you'd like to see next. I have a few projects lined up for 2021. I have so many designs coming out of the woodworks that I'm drawing up on some croquis. So if there's something specific that you'd like to see, let me know down below. Thanks again, y'all.